Good morning! It says we're live, so I'm gonna guess we're live. Scoot you guys a little bit here. What's going on? Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. I hope your Wednesday is going fantastic. Or, depending on where you are in the world, I guess I hope your Wednesday was fantastic. But either way, welcome. Welcome to the live, where if you've been here before, you'll know that it's just an hour or so of us hanging out, talking about shop and talking about projects and what's going on in your world. Just a good old time. Like always, got some hot coffee here because it is a little chilly out here this morning. Yesterday was like 60 degrees. Today it's 9. Craziness. Harry Dude's here. Harry Dude says, "What's up?" Now, from what I learned last week, I got to make sure that I have these chat settings correct. Because apparently, last week I had it all goofed up. So I got to make sure that I can see what you guys are saying. I don't want to miss anything. Alright, we are on live chat. Not top chat or anything like that, but we're on live. So hopefully I won't miss anything. What's going on, everyone? What's on your workbench this fine morning, this fine day? Let's go with that. Because I know, Harry Dude, it's not morning for you. Well, sort of maybe. Yeah. Anyway, Robert's here. Robert says hello. Neptunes is here. Says, hey, Harry, Jeff. Packin', Rick's here. Rick says, good morning, folks. Harry Dude said, I think the problem was someone trying to post links. I did check the settings on my chat thingy here, and it was set to top chat, not live. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but we're on live chat now. So hopefully I don't miss anything. Neptune said, hey, Packin'. Ooh, frog. I think that's what happens when you get these giant swings in weather that we're having right now. Harry Dude says, technically morning, 3:05 a.m. Says, hey, Neptunes, Robert, Packin'. Yeah, I guess it is morning, even though it's in the future. Harry Dude's here from the future, visiting with us. Robert says, hey, it's 61 here today. Yeah, that's what we had yesterday. Maybe 58, 59, something like that. 60 degrees, basically. And today it's 9 degrees. And there's supposed to be snow flying. That's all right. I got what I needed to get done yesterday while it was warm, so I don't have to worry about glue. We'll get to that here shortly, once everybody kind of gets tuned in and settled in. And Henry's here. Henry says, morning. Morning, Henry. You guys cold there up in Denver? Because it sure is here. I'm going to be enjoying this nice warm coffee, probably more than normal. Alrighty. So, we'll just jump right in here, I guess. What the heck have we been working on here in the shop? I'm working on a build for the guitar show next month. Man, I can't believe we're only about a month away. But over the last few days, I've been working on a guitar build. Robert says, how the preparation is going for the show you're heading to soon. I'm going to get to that. But they're going good. I think I've got most of the kind of decoration stuff for the booth. Pretty well done. I'm waiting on some business cards. And I might order up some t-shirts to have some Haley Guitars t-shirts up there. I'm not quite sure on that yet. I think I will. But right now, I am working on a build that I plan to take up there. It's a cigar box build. Here's where we're at so far. I got everything glued up. I got the fretboard slotted and glued in place, trimmed flush yesterday. I wanted to get all this done before the weather changed. That way I didn't have to worry about trying to keep it warm enough for glue to dry and all that. And here's where we're at so far. Of course, I still have to, do the relief on the headstock, and install the frets and fret markers and all that stuff. But all the major gluing is done on this build. So this thing is going to, I'll just try to show you here without dropping stuff. This is going to fit like so. Actually, it's going to, no, that's upside down. Yeah, that's right. We got a little 3-string hardtail bridge that's going to go on here. I showed you that little mini humbucker. That's going to go in here. I'm working on some templates right now that will, I should have had that pickup here handy. I think what I'm going to do is just route out for the pickup, just the pickup, not the tabs. And then when, if I can get that off of there. Who made this fit so tight? Down here, I will direct mount the pickup to this, so I'll route out the actual pickup shape, and then when this sits over it, all that will poke through is the actual pickup. You won't see the tabs or anything. So it's a little bit tricky because I had to disassemble the box in order to be able to get this thing assembled. So I'm going to end up having to cut these little prongs off and then just use some little, I don't know, brass screws or something to screw this back together, because it won't all fit in the box and let the lid close with the design. I got this really wide block here because I'm going to be routing some of this out for the pickup, and I wanted to have plenty of strength so that nothing can move around. We're going to even do a little throwback to the acoustic with a little heel cap here. So far I'm pretty happy with this, with the way it's coming along. Of course, we got a little bit of a ways to go, but we're getting there. This one will be at the show. I'll have that there along with a couple of the 6-string electrics, and yeah, it should be pretty fun. Alrighty, let's see here. So Robert, thanks for asking. Preparations are going well. Got the build underway. Got a couple little, decorative type things that I'm finishing up. But yeah, we're going good. I'm getting excited. Henry says, yep, it's pretty cold here. Hoping it keeps snowing so I don't have to drive to work tomorrow. Made a spatula for Valentine's Day. Watched your video to get the shape right. Right on. The little wooden spatulas, man, those things are great. And you don't even have to worry. Like, you wear one out or something like that, or you leave it in the pan and it burns, you just make a new one. Or sand it off and keep going. Neptune says, to Harry Dude, what are the Texas lottery numbers for today? Yeah, if only it worked that way, huh? Sempackin says, I'm redoing the binding on a build. Looks like a better fit this time. I'm going to try using MEK instead of acetone, a recommendation from your luthier friend in Britain. Interesting. Be careful with that stuff. I've heard that the MEKs are not great for you, so just take whatever safety precautions you need to take. That's all I'll say on that one. Something on my hat. See that little fuzz or something? Sent back and says, hi Neptunes. Robert says, best of luck with the binding. Harry Dude says, if only. I know, right? If only it worked that way. Watch and learn. Thomas is here. What's up, man? Thomas says, good morning. Good morning. I was watching an Eric Schaefer video yesterday or day before, and he had answered your question on there. So I don't know if you haven't seen that. You got a question answered in the in one of Eric Schaefer's. I think it's the latest one he's got out. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think he was talking about the laminating the strip to the bottom of the binding when you bend it all together. I also believe that is how Zimbelman Guitars does it. He will laminate up his binding. He'll glue the strip on the bottom and he bends it all together. I'm pretty sure that's what he told me. Thomas says, really? Yeah, go check it out when you get a chance. I think it's the last one he put out maybe 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. Senpakin says, tell me more, please, on the MEK. I can't speak onto that, honestly. I'm not an expert on that, but I feel like that's one of those chemicals that's hazardous, maybe? I don't know. I could be completely way off on that. But just be careful with it. I'm not an expert on that particular. Well, I'm not a chemist or anything, but maybe it's not MEK, but it's anything with those ketones, right? The ketone deal. I don't know. Look it up. Do your research. Watch and Learn says, yeah, the question was, does he worry about the strip delaminating? Yes. His answer was basically, it can delaminate, but most of the time it's not an issue. But he has had that happen before. But just go watch the video when you got some time, because he does a much better way of explaining it. But I am quite sure that Zimbelman Guitars also does that same sort of technique to create the purfling and all that together. All right. Man, my throat's all a mess this morning. I don't know what the heck's going on. Well, I sort of do. The weather. It's not too bad in here, though. I got the heat on early, so it's been running for a while, but sort of getting warmed up. Oh, let's see. Rogue's here. Rogue says, hey, Jeff. Sup, pal? All good this fine day? Yes, my friend. We're doing good. A little chilly, but that's all right. We're getting some work done. Working on a build here, and yeah, we're doing good, man. How are you doing? And it is a fine day, even though it's chilly and a little snowy out there. It's a good day. Good day indeed. So, what are you guys working on today? Let me know. Let's talk about it. Oh, let's see. Robert's got some insight, it looks like, on the MEKs. It says it can be harmful to the eyes, skin, and if inhaled or swallowed. The level of exposure depends on dose, duration, and work being done. Yeah, maybe that's not the thing that I was thinking of. I think a lot of stuff really can be harmful to the eyes, skin, and of course inhaled. You know, acetone is one that, I don't know what's in acetone. I should probably read that one of these days. You know, you don't, any of those chemicals, right? You don't want them in your eyes. And I surely don't want to be eating it, and I'm not going to put it on a sandwich or something. I mean, but, you know, just you wear some gloves and have a well-ventilated area, and you'll be fine. A lot of times, chemicals, even stuff like acetone, some people get really are very cautious about that, but even that, I don't typically use gloves. I probably should, but usually I just grab it, I use it, and I move on. And I haven't really noticed any ill effects. It's probably not visible, but I've noticed it can dry your skin out a little bit, but, you know, unless it's, I don't know, I'm not swimming in it. But most of the stuff, mineral spirits and denatured alcohol and all that, I personally don't really worry about getting it on me. It's probably not great. I mean, I'm not soaking myself in it, but if I'm just putting a little on a rag to clean up a piece or something, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health expert, so don't do as I do. Just do your research and take proper precautions for yourself. How about that? Is that like the super generic answer? Watch and Learn says, so I've decided to mill up all my guitar woods into their perspective pieces, bridge blanks, fretboards, sides, backs, necks. Lots of work, but I'm going to start selling on my website. Right on, man. I was looking at, I've got a couple decent slab, well, the slabs aren't all that decent, but the wood is decent. That's a quarter sawn section of some logs that I milled several years ago. And I was looking at those, and I almost think that I could get some backs and sides out of some of those things. I'm looking. Some of it's really nice quarter sawn straight grain stuff. I've been thinking about that. I might try to do that. See if I can get some back and side sets out of those, because that would be pretty awesome to build one from some lumber that I milled from trees that were in my yard. I think that'd be pretty cool. They've been cut for a couple years, and they've been sitting in here for the last 6 months probably, just before winter set in. I brought them in here and got them leaning up against, well, everything. I'm always having to move them, but they're dry. I think that'd be pretty cool. Elm. This is a Siberian elm. Nice quarter sawn. Rogue says, I'm okay, brother, thank you. In between projects currently, waiting for that inspiration or pragmatic feeling to strike. Aha! I know exactly what you mean. You finished up stuff, and you're kind of like, what am I going to make? What's next? And yeah, sometimes there is a little bit of a, there's a little bit of time between projects for that reason. I experienced the exact same thing. I have a giant list of things that I've thought, every time I think of something to make, it'd be kind of cool if we did this, this, and this. I put it on a list. And when I come into that situation where, well, what are we going to do next? I'll go back to that list, and sometimes something jumps out, and that's what I end up doing. But other times, nothing seems to fit what I'm feeling. So, I experience the exact same thing, where I just have to kind of sit on it for a little bit. I don't like to try to sit on it for too long, but if there's a day or so where I'm trying to figure out what we're going to build next, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You'll find the right project. You'll find, sometimes it just takes a little bit of looking around your shop, looking through, take an inventory of materials and things that you have on hand. At least this is what I do sometimes. I'll just start looking through what I have. And sometimes I'll see a certain piece and an idea will pop out. But yeah, you'll find it. You'll find a cool project. Neptune says, I have PDF plans for a 6-cylinder radial steam engine. I'm redrawing the parts in CAD for a 3D model. Oh man, you're going to build an actual working steam engine? That would be sweet. Robert says, it's just a quick look about MEK. There may be more as well that could be worse. Attias says, any of you have pics of your work on Instagram? Would be nice to see your work. I know I have an Instagram page. If you guys aren't following it, you should. Let's see. So many different usernames. I always have to double check. Mine is Home Built Shop. So if you want to go on there, follow along. I need to get some posts on there. I've been slacking the last few days. But yeah, if those of you who have Instagram pages, unfortunately you can't post a link, but you can type it out down there, I think. And yeah, let us know your usernames, and if we're not following, let's all follow each other. But you got to let us know what one to follow. Robert says some of the recommendations on the MEK was, the safety sheets. Was reading the safety sheets about it. Yeah, those, I used to be in charge of the MSDS sheets in the corporate world. When I worked in the corporate world, that was part of one of my tasks at one time. And there is some good information on there. It's a little boring to read. But yeah, that is a excellent source for pretty much all the information you need. And that's the duty of the MSDS. Paul's here. Paul says, sorry I'm late. No worries, Paul. I'm glad you made it. We waited for you. Henry says, do you think a go-bar deck is essential for your first acoustic? I need to glue on the braces, have the top, sides, and back done. I'm afraid to mess it up. What would you do next? I don't think it's absolutely necessary. No. There's plenty of other ways you can clamp that in place. Really, you can just use clamps. I mean, just regular clamps. You could totally do that. Use some little cauls to clamp everything down. You can also use spool clamps. Do I have any of those? I'm sure you know what spool clamps are. I do have some, but ow, my foot was stuck. Where are those? I probably can't get them because my chair's in the way. Ooh, kind of got one. Spool clamps, these are a popular method, and that was actually my intention. I was going to make, like 50 of these things for the first acoustic build, but I did end up going with the go-bar deck. But I think these are a great option. You would just put put it on your side, and you can clamp it down. And these things work really good. I've seen many builds done with this. I have about, I don't know, 6 of these things. I don't have too many of them. I've used them for different tasks. They work really good. They're really easy to make. I actually did a video on this. Man, it's been several years. I probably ought to go back and see how horrible that is. On making these, I just used a hole saw. 1.25 inch hole saw? What is that? I think. So this is an 1.25 inch disc. So I probably used an inch, maybe 1.5 inch hole saw. 1 3/8. You could play around with it, and I did the exact same thing. I used a few different sizes to see what would work the best. I think this was a 1 inch hole saw. It's really tiny, and actually I think it's a little too tiny. Yeah, this is a 1 inch disc. So I probably used an 1.25 inch, 1 1/8, something like that. I kind of like this 1.25 inch size. It seems to have enough surface area where you can still grip on things. I almost think I might make them a little bit bigger even. Maybe an 1.5 inch disc might be better because it would give you a little more surface here. But you could do something like that. But I don't feel that the go-bar deck is 100% necessary on your first build. If you feel like you might build some more, I think it is worth building one. But I don't think it's 100% necessary. There's other ways to clamp things in place. Regular clamps, clamping calls, and you can get it done. In the Eric Schaefer course that I went through, he uses not these, but he uses those like cam clamps, and that's what he clamps almost everything with cam clamps. But I think you could just use regular clamps and be okay. Just use clamping calls to kind of spread that force out. Let's see here. Robert says, hey, Paul. Rogue says, been looking into PLCs lately. Yeah, nice. As an electrician, translates well over to the programming, and possibilities are endless. PLCs, if you're not familiar, a PLC is a programmable logic controller. Now, I have some experience with PLCs, again, from working in the corporate world. I spent a lot of years doing maintenance and repair on manufacturing equipment. And I have used several PLCs. I've never programmed it from scratch. I worked with another coworker who was incredible with the electronics, and he programmed it initially. But there have been several times where I had to plug the laptop in and do some checking or diagnosing or modifications. PLCs are so cool. If I had to wrap it up into like a nutshell, right? For those of you that are familiar with an Arduino, those little programmable computer things that you can write code for to do, you know, all kinds of stuff. I kind of relate it to that, only it's like on another planet as far as capabilities and, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but it's like next level from an Arduino maybe. But they're awesome, and you can do some cool stuff with it. Paul says to Henry, Go Bar decks work great. Not only applies pressure to the bracing, but in conjunction with the radius disc, helps form to top and bottom at the proper radius. They will glue in that position. Good point, Paul. I guess by saying to use the spool clamps and stuff like that, while that is assuming that everything else is already radiused. And I don't know how you'd do that. You could do that without a radius dish. I know you can. A little extra work. But yeah, you're right. I think it would be easier once you get your braces radiused and everything glued in the dish. But then your radius is set. Then you can just use clamps to clamp it together. But getting that radius is something else you got to think about. There's other ways to do it. You could 3D print some radius guides, so you have your braces at the correct radius and clamp everything together. There's ways to do it, and I don't think it's 100% necessary, but Paul makes a very good point about getting the plates radiused before you attach them. Almost got tripped around my words there. Wayne's here. Wayne says, Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Wayne. Senpakin says, all chemicals are absorbed into your skin, go to your organs, so gloves are a must. We use acetone in the printing trade, and we're warned about the dangers. Gloves weren't used back then. Yeah, acetone for cleaning rollers and stuff. Paul says, sorry, Waldrop Guitars. Yeah, there's his Instagram, Waldrop Guitars. Henry says, thanks, Paul. I assume it should be pretty simple. I guess I'll have to go watch some videos. Henry says, I've built a table in my procrastination. A Go Bar table you talking about? Or just a table? Oh, a table while you're procrastinating gluing the pieces. You can do it, man. You'll get it. Yeah, just be careful when you glue up, get enough glue on there, get a good glue joint. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. If you followed along in my acoustic build, every single step I felt like, or just about every single step, felt like it could be disastrous, and I felt like I was going to destroy it. If I screw this step up, if I screw up the rosette, I'm going to ruin the top. Oh, if I screw up the bending, I'm going to ruin the sides. Oh, if I screw up the glue up, I'm going to ruin everything. Turns out, it came out awesome. I think there is some good in that bit of apprehension, right? Because it causes us to slow down and make sure that we really understand what it is that we're doing. And I think that's what helps prevent some of the mistakes. Not all of them, but some. Paul says, I was a truck driver while going to school, hauled chemicals, very familiar with all the safety requirements for that. Yep. You got to have all those papers, all the paperwork. Henry says, I made 25 spool clamps a few weeks ago from your video. I didn't realize they're interchangeable for a Go Bar. Do they help radius like the Go Bar? Back to that, I would say no. You need to have those plates already radiused before you glue them on. When you glue on your braces, get pre-radiused when you install them. So on your build, did you already glue the braces on? Or where are you at in that process? Maybe we can help work through it. Neptune says, I'll tell you, here's a link. Oh, link to my site. Link to the website. Haley Guitars. Thanks, dude. I'll tell you, says, thanks, Neptune. Appreciate it. Robert says, just stepped away for a second cup of coffee. He says, sorry if it offends anyone. Oops. But I am one of those people that drinks their coffee with cream and sugar. I'm giving you a virtual fist bump. Boom. because that's how I drink mine. Cream and sugar. I always use half and half. Milk in a pinch, but half and half, and a spoonful of sugar. That's what I use. No apologies. Really, that's how I grew up drinking coffee. My dad always took it that way, only he put like 2 or 3 spoons of sugar in it. And I used to do that for a long time, but I realized that's way too much sugar, so I got it weaned down to just a spoonful. Not even a heaping spoonful, just a spoonful. Nice shot of half and half. And it's mighty good. So Robert, I'm with you. Again, boom, fist bump. Our Harry Dude says, instead of dish plates, could you make a big X with the radius in it? To take the place of the radius dish? Yeah, that's a cool idea. Like, I don't have anything here for an example. So like, let's say, that's an interesting concept if I'm understanding. So are you talking about, let's just say 2x4s, for example, and you make an X out of 2x4s. You maybe do a half lap in the middle so they sit, and then radius that? Is that what you're talking about? I kind of like that thought. I'm thinking. Sorry for the dead air, but I kind of like that. What would that do? You wouldn't have as much support, but you're gluing on your X braces in the X, so you wouldn't need support. That's an interesting idea. I like those ideas that make me go, let me think about that a little. I almost think you could. Where you might run into some issues is maybe gluing on the finger braces, the little small ones on the outside. You wouldn't have support underneath it. Huh. Robert says, I recently switched from using Coffee Mate to using real cream because I read the back of the Coffee Mate states that there is bioengineered stuff in the Coffee Mate. Yeah, I do not like the Coffee Mate creamers. If I'm out somewhere and that's like all they have, like I've been to places where they don't have actual creamer. They have those little like French vanilla things or something. I can do that in a pinch, but for my day-to-day stuff, it is straight half and half. Or some kind of cream, but I just buy half and half because I can get it in like the half-gallon containers. But yeah, I'm not a fan of any of the Coffee Mate, the powdered stuff. It all tastes not as good to me. Paul says, I only quit building acoustics because the electric guitar business took off, and in a 160 square foot shop, I had to choose. Paul, I know exactly what you're talking about. All the jigs, all the fixtures, all of the accoutrements, that's like been my favorite word lately, that go along with building an acoustic guitar. It is very hard to be able to store all that stuff. I have jigs and templates and things shoved all over the place, for both electric and now the acoustic, and I still have to build a sidebender. I don't know where that's going to live, but we'll figure it out, I guess. I'm back to going through the the shop and finding items that I can sell off or get rid of or donate or something like that, just to try to clear up a couple square centimeters. Neptune says, my coffee has to be cold and have flavors in it. Fair enough. Fair enough. I won't judge. Robert says, I use sugar in the raw and heavy cream. Yeah, I just use regular white sugar. I've used sugar in the raw. To me, there's like a different taste to it. A lot of people say I'm crazy, but to me, I can taste a little difference. But I'll use it. I'm not against it. Watch and Learn says, just finished resawing some beautiful quarter sawn white oak for all my American OM model, or my All-American. Will be oak sides, maple back, walnut fretboard, cherry accents, elm bridge, and head plate. Cool, man. It's like a whole mishmash. I like it. Henry says, I haven't glued the braces on yet. Top and bottoms are done but flat, and the sides are done. with the blocks in. So I need to figure out the bracing and radius. Okay, so you have the sides all done and it's glued together, so you have like a hollow box. Do you have your kerfing in there, your kerfed lining? Some people get mad at me for calling it kerfing. They're like, it's kerfed lining. But if you go on, like, I want to say it's LMI or some of the, maybe it's Allied, Luthery, like, and you're looking for kerfing, you click on the button that says kerfing. It doesn't say curved lining. Potato, potato. So let's see. So you need to glue the braces. For that, I honestly think that the radius dish is the best way to do it. That's my opinion. I do know a guy that has built one without any radius dish whatsoever. He did take something like, I don't know, 2x4 or some sort of piece of hardwood or something, and he did cut the radius in there so that he could sand the braces to the radius. And then I think if you clamped either end of the brace, it would flex enough to fit. I almost think that'd be harder, but it can be done. I think the radius dish is probably your best bet. But I guess it just depends on how creative you want to get with radiusing the braces, because you're going to brace the you're going to radius the braces before you glue them in place. So what happens is your radius dish, I don't know how I'm going to demonstrate this. Your radius dish, of course, has that dome carved into it. You sand your brace in that dish to match the radius that, let's say the back, for example, you know, whatever you're going to use, 15 foot or 20 foot or whatever, you're going to sand that radius into the brace. Then you're going to set your back plate on the dish, and when you clamp it down, it bows that back plate into that radius, and then the braces glue it there, which helps hold that radius in. I just think, the more I think about it, Henry, I really do feel like a radius dish is the easiest way to do that. Again, it's not 100% necessary, but I think it will make your life easier. And if you got access to a CNC machine, just make one out of MDF. It's super easy. Harry Dude says, yes, a big X with the 2x4s. Man, I got like way behind here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to get caught up. Paul says, I just always use the radius dishes. Since I sanded the sides using them, then the bracing, and then laying something on the dish to protect the top and bottom, and then bracing keeps the radius the same. Yes, that's how I did it. I use the dish for everything. Harry Dude says you could rotate the body around the X and glue in your braces. Oh, that's true. That's true. Clamp to the arms of the X. May take longer, but maybe easier to make the X. Yeah, that's true. I do believe, though, that, Henry, I could be wrong. I don't know if you still come down here to town, but if you have, like I said, if you have access to a CNC machine, it's super easy to make a radius dish. Rogue says, oh yeah, the hybrid guitar. It's a thing? Feasible thing? Seems like a cool thing you could play anytime, anywhere. Good around a fire. Plug it in to an amp and pedals. Yeah. Sorry, did I miss? I feel like I missed something, but maybe not. Yeah, hybrid would be cool. Kind of an acoustic electric thing. Sort of what this thing is gonna sort of be. It's gonna end up being, I guess, kind of a hybrid, because it's gonna have a humbucker. I'm gonna be able to play on it. But I think I'm going to put a couple sound holes in the box. So, you know, to get a little bit of that unplugged, sitting around the campfire or sitting on the couch. I'm going to try to put this together and show you. If I can get it together without breaking it. There we go. So there's the box with it fit in there. Sort of. It's not even. Might put a couple little sound holes down here so you can get a little extra volume out of it. Kind of a hybrid. Robert says, to Neptunes, I'd like hazelnut and classic caramel flavoring in my coffee. Paul says, I have plans to build the equipment, again, if needed. Only thing left is an electric iron for bending. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do build basically a Fox style bender. I already started drawing it up on some other plans. Actually, I think that ones that you sent me, Paul. And I'm just going to use the heating blanket from like LMI or one of those places with the the spring steel dealios, technical term. I think that's what I'm going to do. Use some, like a little screw clampy thing to clamp the waist, and then you have the two deals that bend it around. Kind of your classic Fox style bender. Neptune says, Robert, that's good, but I prefer mocha. Robert says, sugar in the raw does have a slight, almost caramel flavor. I also like mocha. Yeah, maybe that's what it is, caramel. Maybe that's the flavor, because I'm not a big fan of caramel. Caramel, however you say it. Caramel, caramel, potato, potato. Henry says, yep, kerfing is in there. Oh, sorry, curved lining. It's kerfing as far as I'm concerned. But somebody will correct you at some point. I found that out. To me, I'm still calling it kerfing. Bobby's here. Bobby says, what's up, guys? What's up, Bobby? What's going on in your world today? Robert says Dave Dickens' YouTube channel made his own adjustable radius dish and also made his own bending iron. Ooh, adjustable radius dish? Sounds intriguing. I might have to search that up. Paul says, I wouldn't mess around with it and use the radius dish. That way, no way to mess up the radius and body will glue together more precise. Makes for a better instrument as it eliminates mistakes. Yes, I mean, I do agree with that. I just feel like I know for 100% fact that there are other ways to do it. I just think the radius dish, I just don't think you can go wrong. I really don't. If you, Henry, and anybody, if you're looking, I mentioned this in the video when I made my radius dishes, or when my buddy's machine made my radius dishes. I designed it though. If you are looking at, if you end up building some and you need the 24-inch sandpaper, absolutely do not order it from the luthier supply places. That's so expensive. I ordered mine 24-inch sanding discs. They're made for a floor sander. Those big deals, like if you're sanding like a hardwood floor, it's the exact same thing. It's sticky back sandpaper. It's a 24-inch circle, and it's not specialty, radius dish sandpaper. You can save so much money. I mean, a fair bit of money anyway. I ordered mine from a place called Super Grit. Super Grit? Yes. They're out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not sponsored by them, but I know I've mentioned them before. It's really a place that I recommend and I use. I buy almost all of my abrasives from them, and they're awesome. I'm probably partial because they're from Pennsylvania, and I've been to Gettysburg, but but I would use, if you're looking to get something like that, look around for floor sanding discs, the big 24-inch ones, and I think that's a better option than trying to order what they're selling as radius dish sandpaper. You could buy a bunch of these and call them radius dish paper and probably sell them for twice as much. Paul says those plans work great. However, if you want to save money, you can use a couple 150-watt bulbs on the inside to heat up the wood. Works just as well. Yes, I believe that's what those plans are. The plans are for the light bulbs. For some reason, I'm not super excited about the light bulb idea. I know it works. I've seen it done. But I think I might do the heating blanket. It is a little expensive, but I think that's the route that I'm going to go. Rogue says, sorry for the random hybrid thought. We briefly touched on it a while back. Imagine there is trade-offs, and I keep getting a picture of the old-style Chuck Berry type guitar. Yeah, I remember we talked about it before. For some reason, I thought maybe I had missed a previous comment, and I really try not to do that. So I wanted to make sure I didn't like skip over anybody. I think a hybrid would be cool. And what if you took it one step further and put an amp in it, right? What if you got one of those little jam jar amps? I think they're made in the UK. I think so. And they make them and they sell them in these little jelly jars. But you can buy just the guts. Comes with a speaker, a little tiny circuit board, and a battery deal. You can build that inside a guitar. Man, I should have done that with this. I don't know if I have room, actually, though. It's a smaller box. But something like that, right? So maybe you got a switch on there. So you could play it acoustically. Switch on, put a switch, turn on the little amp and play, or plug it in and play through an actual amp. That'd be kind of neat. Paul says, my dishes just use strips of sandpaper, cheaper than big circles, just stuck them to the discs. Yep, I've seen that done as well. He says, I agree, by the floor sanding stuff, LMI stands for lose money instantly. Yeah, they do. I mean, there's things I've ordered from them, just like Stu Mac, right? I'm not anti any of those places, but the prices for luthier specific type items, even if it's just a big piece of sandpaper, it's just, there are ways to get the same thing without paying their prices. There are a couple things that LMI has that I might end up ordering. I need to get a set of tapered reamers. The Stu Mac ones, for like bridge pin holes and that. Actually, there's like a 3 degree and a 5 degree. Stu Mac's like $100 a piece or something. LMI has them for 60 or 70. I've seen people using the cheap ones off Amazon. I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't mind paying for tools if I know the quality's good. But even $60 or $70 for a tapered reamer seems kind of high. But then I think of the prices for like machining grade ones, for metal and all that, and they're ridiculously expensive. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I need a 3 degree and a 5 degree reamer. Do I just order the cheap China one off of Amazon or whatever? I don't know. What would you do? Harry Dude says, could you repurpose a laser printer roller, fuser roller for bending? You might be able to. How hot do those get? I know they get pretty dang hot. I wonder if you can control that with voltage. It's an interesting thought. Bobby says, I steam bent strips of maple about 3/32 thick to form the banding for a flip table in our camper. Mist the wood, cover it with a wet towel, and apply the hot iron. Yeah, steam bending is another thing that I haven't really tried. Other than once upon a time I was doing some repairs on a bass for a friend of mine, and I don't know what the heck the deal was. The neck had probably a 1/4 inch slop, or 3/32 maybe slop in the neck pocket. I mean, it was bad. I've never seen anything so bad. It was an old bass that kind of been kicking around since he was a kid. And I cut a piece of wood. I don't remember what it was, mahogany or something. And I put it in, those steam baskets that you're supposed to steam like broccoli and stuff like that, vegetables. I stuck it in there. It's almost a double boiler kind of thing. So you have your pan and then you have this basket that sits on top. So I steamed this piece of wood in the vegetable steamer in the kitchen. And once I got it steamed for, it got fairly floppy, I was able to bend that into the neck cavity, tap the neck into place. It was pretty snug, but once it dried, then I could take it back apart, glue in this shim, whatever, and it worked perfect to create a much nicer neck joint. But that's really the only thing I've ever steam bent with actual steam. When I bent the guitar sides, excuse me, it was misted with water, wrapped up in aluminum foil, and then a heating blanket placed over top. Sort of the same thing. You wrap it in foil, to kind of build that steam in there. Same kind of concept, but as far as like building a steam box or something, I've never done that. Hairdude says, I think they're basically a roller with a high power lamp in it. You know, that's true. It does have a light. Because it does get, you see the light. Yeah. I never thought about what went into that. Robert says, the method you mentioned using the heating blanket and thin metal bands would give a more uniform heat and control. I believe that is one of the advantages. Of course, you know, the thin spring steel strips not only support the wood, but I think it probably does help distribute the heat so you don't necessarily get the hot spots. Harry says, yes, the luthier tax. Try the international luthier tax. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. You got to pay like the import fees and stuff. Paul says, I support LMI and StewMac also. Bought the entire set of bearings, binding router bits from StewMac. A few hundred, but I've gotten my money back. My reamers came from eBay and worked great. Interesting. I have not checked eBay. I might have to do that. Yeah, you know, I am all for saving money, right? Not dropping the thousands of dollars on stuff over time. But I also believe that there are times when I think, you know, buy once, cry once kind of thing, right? I'm sure you've all heard that saying. You know, do you buy the cheap $2 thing from the import place, or do you buy the, you know, $100 thing, you know, that's hopefully better quality, but you never have to replace. If I got to replace it every couple of uses, then I should have just bought the good one. And I do totally believe that that's true. But I also like to try to find the best deal on whatever that expensive thing is that I need to get, right? I don't like to just spend money to spend money, but I'm also not against buying good tools once. Hey, there's something wonky going on here. I think maybe the storm's here. Harry Dude said, or Paul says to Harry Dude, I understand building a guitar body for a guy in Italy going to cost him almost as much as the body for shipping. Yeah, shipping, man, is expensive. Bobby says the banding was comprised of several layers glued together to give it thickness. That sounds cool, man. Paul says I made a steam box out of a wallpaper steamer and plywood. Works awesome and heats up to around 220 degrees. Robert says I got a couple of emails from StewMac this past weekend advertising a sale on some of the wood they sell. Checked it out and they had maybe only 4 different tops by the time I checked, and 3 were out. I think I got the same email. I didn't even open it. Rogue says that particular hybrid thing sounds cool as heck. See what I did there? I want a shout out or small credit or something. When complete and inevitably awesome. I might have to try that one day with a built-in amp. You got it. Henry says the light bulb method sounds like more dangerous easy bake oven. Yeah, there's a certain danger factor there to that, I think. Harry Dude says, I just bought a tapered reamer for bridge pins from Southern Tone Woods here in Melbourne. It's $20. Haven't used it yet. Can measure the angle and let you know if you like. Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. I would take any recommendations. $20 sounds like a pretty darn good price. Southern Tone Woods. I'm gonna bring that up right now so that I. Side note: how many of you use tabs on your phone as kind of a placeholder? I open new tabs more than anyone should ever open new tabs, and just so I don't lose stuff. Southern Tone Woods, Melbourne. There. Now I got it there. I probably have 55 tabs open on my poor phone. Paul says, I like the precision I get from my binding set from StewMac. Yeah, sometimes it's worth buying the good stuff. Yeah, my binding set, I did not buy the StewMac one. I almost did. I bought, where is it? I bought these Amana sets. They have 2 different ones. They're 1/4-inch shank, very similar. I mean, who knows? It might even be the same set. See, it comes with different bearings and all that. I I bought both of the different sizes that they have. I have absolutely no complaints with this set, other than it's not cheap. But I don't know. I know a lot of guys buy, the cutting bits from eBay, for a couple bucks a piece, and have great results with it. But that's one of those things that I go back and forth on. I've bought cheap drill bits before. I bought the Harbor Freight drill bits before. The Brad Point ones. And honestly, for most things, they work. Several of them, the point is not centered. When you touch the point to your piece of wood, it wants to wobble all over the place. So your hole comes out a little wonky. But if it's not a super precision thing, I've built a guitar using, the Harbor Freight Brad Point bits. But I did buy a better set last year, I think, because I'd lost a couple of these other ones. They're so much smoother. The points are actually in the center. Sometimes the cheap ones work, but sometimes the better ones are better. Robert says, no matter where you get tools from or how much they cost, as long as they're quality, that's what really matters. Yes, that's what I agree with that. Sometimes, though, you see the tool for, $5 off of Amazon or whatever, and yes, it may be, I keep going back to reamers because I know I'm going to need to get a set of reamers. Yes, it may be the exact 3-degree angle that I need. But if it wears out after a use or two, then I got to get another one, and I'm back in the same boat. So it's like, how do you know? And that's why I like to talk with you guys about it. What's worked good for you and what hasn't. Yeah, how do you know it's a good quality if I've never used it? So, and that's where I think it's helpful to have people that you can throw ideas at and ask opinions and ask what's worked well for others. I don't like, especially for stuff like that, I would be pretty hesitant at going on Amazon and just ordering it. Because I just don't know how long it's going to last. But that's where reviews are also helpful. I don't know. I have a tendency to over-research things, even something like a reamer, right? I just want to feel like I have gotten the best deal. I've gotten the best quality for the best deal, and I don't want to just, on a whim, order it. I don't know. I research a lot. Probably too much, actually, if that's even a thing. Rogue says, for sure, I'll research, and you can find no-name tools built in the same factory as the big boys. Yeah, that's true. Watch and Learn says, I'm back. Man, I was wondering where you went. Welcome back. Henry says, gotta head out. Thanks for the help, everyone. Right on, Henry. Go fire up the CNC and make you a radius dish. Heritage says, I use Firefox and send tabs back to my main computer to remember stuff. Yeah, I've been tabs like crazy. Rick says, I bought the same set for binding. Yeah, the Amana. Not the Infinity set, it's the Amana set. Paul says, most of my router bits are Rockler. Lifetime free replacement on them. Yeah, Rockler ones I've had good luck with. Robert says, I have one of those jam jar amps. Not great sound, but it can be used at least to test the wiring in a guitar. Yeah, they're kind of fun to just play with. Yeah, it doesn't sound fantastic. I did build one into a cigar box 2 years ago, I think. I built a 3-string cigar box, and I also built I had 2 matching cigar boxes. I built one of those jam jars into another matching box, and I sold them as a set. I sold the guitar and the amp. It's just a little battery powered, like 1.25 watt or 1.5 watt amp. But it's just it was fun, just fun to play with. Mike's here. Mike says, have a great day. Right on, Mike. Bobby says, the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of a low price is forgotten. That's a good one. Yeah. I bought this thing for $2 and it broke after the first use. Well, that's why. Paul says, my fingerboard radius router bits are from Yannico. Bought an entire set, 7 different radius bits, commonly used ones. I have seen some of those bits, and I can't think of the name of one of them now. Harry Dude, you might know, because I believe it's an Australian company, makes fretboard radius router bits. I almost ordered some at some point. Can't think of the name. Robert says, click the like, please. Right on. Yeah, thanks, Robert. Yeah, guys, if you haven't hit that like button, click that little, well, I don't know where it is on your screen. That's probably down here somewhere. Click that thumbs up button. I'd appreciate it. Rogue says, Bobby, that was beautiful, sir. That is. We should make that into a sign. Harry Dude says, I bought Chinesium guitar tools. Most I have had to work on to make usable. Saddle sander, fret bender, fretboard protectors. Yeah, see, I don't like to have to do that. Rick says, yeah, my bad, Amanda. That's all good. Bobby says, found it on Google. Paul says, had to go with router bits. I had to have carpal tunnel surgery from radiusing fingerboards manually. Yeah, definitely, definitely kind of gets a little tiring. I might get into that today, maybe. Not sure if I'll get that. Nah, I don't know if I will. I got to do some editing. I might get the fret markers glued in on this, and then radiused. It's supposed to be cold here for a couple days, which makes it a little not super fun to be working out here. But, yeah. Bobby says, I heard that phrase way back when I was younger. It was a while ago. Yep. But, yeah. Right on. Yeah, so tapered reamers. So if you got any good recommendations, let me know. I've been looking at the LMI ones, but I don't know, because it's cheaper than the StewMac. Or should I just buy the StewMac? Or should I buy the? I'm gonna look at this these other ones. I'm not ready to. I don't need to buy them today, but it is something that in the near future I'm gonna have to look at. Oh, I did. Oh, I should have brought it over to show you. I did get a back, top, and side set of mahogany for what I hope to be the baritone acoustic build that I want to start. I want to build it all out of mahogany. I just got the set yesterday. Mahogany back, mahogany sides, mahogany top. We'll do a mahogany neck, and I think, yeah, I'm in the early stages of that. I got to do a little bit more planning, but starting to get materials in. Sam Packin says, what does LMI stand for? It's Luthier's Mercantile International or Incorporated or something like that. Robert says, kind of like saying reality is for those who can't handle science fiction. Yeah. Harry Dude says, happy to get one from Southern Tonewoods for you. Get it sent over for you if they don't send internationally. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll check it out and see if they ship internationally. You know, if it doesn't cost, $1,000 for shipping. I'm going to check into that for sure. Now that you say that, there was something I wanted to ask you, and I can't remember what it was now. Dang it. Something had to do with Australia. I can't think of it now. Rogue says, got to roll. Always a pleasure, Jeff. Thanks. Till next time. Rogue out. Right on, man. I got to wrap this up here pretty quick, too. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Have an awesome rest of your week. Robert says, Rogue, have a good one. Stay safe and healthy. Yeah, guys, I think with that being said, I got to wrap this up. I got to get to making a router template so I can cut the pickup cavity in this little 3-string cigar box guy. And then see about getting some fret markers installed before it gets too cold. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Apparently, the YouTubes appreciate it or something. I don't know. That's what everybody says. I don't have a clue. Paul says, have a great week. Neptune says, have a great week. Harry Dude says, time for me to pack up and go home. Catch you all next week. Robert says, everyone stay safe, healthy, and have a great one. Right on, guys. Thanks a lot so much. Bobby says, later, Jeff. Video coming out this weekend. Making some more guitar show accoutrements. I can't stop saying that word. I don't know why. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you next week, next Wednesday, for Homebrew Workshop Live.